Hi, good afternoon, guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Luke and J Spiritual Moments, Bible Inspired. Today, I am going to continue the chapters in the book from the book of Genesis. If you guys haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, or also leave comments, guys. Today, I'm going to read Genesis 14 to 17 from the King James Version. And as I'm reading, I will try to interpret what I'm understanding by that from that particular book and those chapters 14 to 17. I want to make this quick note, guys, that as I'm reading this is the first time I'm reading Genesis 14 to 17. I haven't read that before. As a matter of fact, maybe I should have a pen so I can circulate some stuff. I haven't read it before. It's the first time I'm reading it, and I'm going to try to explain my understanding of what I'm reading in real time. So it's my first time reading chapter 14 to 17. All right, let's go. Chapter 14. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasa, Chidolaoma, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bosher, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemiba, king of Siboyim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. So in the very first 1 and 2, they're talking about kings of different nations, right? All these were joined together in the Vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, Chedorlaomer, and in the 20th year they rebelled. So there was a rebellion. They rebelled against someone. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephans in Ashtiroth, Canaim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and Emins in Shaver Kiriatim. Sorry about that, guys. First time I'm reading this thing, so some of these names is first time I'm seeing these names. So and the Horites in the Mount Seir unto Elpharan, which is by the wilderness. So we heard two important things there. One is the Vale of Siddim, which is by the Salt Sea. That's very important. And then now I'm seeing unto Elpharan, which is by the wilderness. So you're talking about nations by the sea and nations in the wilderness, right? Deeper into the lands. And they returned and came to En-Mispat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites that dwell in Hazezontama. And there went out the kings of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Adam, and the king of Siboyim, and the king of Bela. The same is Zoar. So the king of Bela and Zoar, I guess, is the same thing. These two nations are the same. And they joined battle with them in the Vale of Siddim. So all these kingdoms come together. The king of those kingdoms come together to battle in the Vale of Siddim. So Siddim was a separate location in which I guess they were going out to fight, to conquer. With Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, kings of nation, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasa, 4 kings with 5. Right? So they say 4 kings with 5. And the Vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountains. So I guess the Vale of Siddim was full of slime pits. I guess, people who were dishonest and stuff like that, or maybe the slime pits were as it is said. Maybe pits, holes that was there, and king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. I don't know. I'll have to review that one. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, so Sodom and Gomorrah fell, and all this, the victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. So I guess Lot is taken at this point, because Lot was in Sodom, right? And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Anna, and these were confederate with Abraham. So now you have a confederate there. It's the first time you hear about confederate in the Bible. I guess that's where the Americans took their inspiration from. And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. So Abraham took his soldiers, he had 318 of them, and pursued those kings who had gone to Sodom and destroyed Sodom. And he divided himself against them, and he and his servant by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. So Hobah was on the left hand of Damascus. So I guess it depends on the direction in which you travel. You're gonna get that. That location from Damascus. And he brought back all the goods. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the people. So Abraham and his servants went back, and all those kings who had come together, which we mentioned earlier, who had come together and had defeated Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham took his soldiers and went back and was able to defeat these people and was able to bring everyone back, right? And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him at the valley of Shavan, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. So at this point, Abraham has been given I guess they recognize him as being blessed by God, the Most High God, and that he's a possessor of heaven and earth, which means that he has the power of both heaven and earth. I guess that's what they mean. And blessed be the Most High God, which had delivered thy enemies unto thy hand, and he gave him tithes of all. So tithes, this is the first time they're going to talk about tithes, as in tidings. So tithes in those days is you give unto others, what if you have extra of something, you'd give unto others, those who are less fortunate, you'd give them, or who have less, I guess, you'd give them some tithes in that case. And the king of Sodom said unto Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abraham rich. So I guess what Abraham is saying, he's not going to take anything that doesn't belong to him, just so that the king of Sodom cannot say that he was the one who made Abraham rich. So Abraham said, I'm not taking anything that doesn't belong to me. I'm only taking what belongs to me. All right. Save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Anna, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thy heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. So I guess God is telling him, every star you see in the sky, every stars, everything you see, as long as you can number them, that's what your seed's gonna be like. That's as many as your seed's gonna be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and set each piece one against the other. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. So basically the Lord is telling him that he's gonna get all his hair is gonna get 400 years of affliction, right? And then after that they're gonna prosper. So 400 years of suffering, that's a long time. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, which means here again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp that passed between those pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and the Kadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. Right? All these lands of the tribes, right? These are all tribal lands. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. So Sarah had a maid, they call her handmaid, but a maid nonetheless, an Egyptian maid, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord had restrained me from bearing. So at this point, Sarah don't believe that she's at her age, she don't believe that she's going to have any kids. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. And I'm not Sarah, Sarai at this point. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. So here you have Sarai, who's married to Abram. She's old. She cannot have kids at this point. And God promised Abraham he's going to give him a son to rule. And yet still, he's not seeing that. So there you could see like the idea, the faith has really taken a toll on them. They want to believe, they tend to believe, but they're in doubt at this point, right? So Sarai did, I guess I don't know who did that in those times, but Sarai decided, hey, listen, my maid is young, go ahead, sleep with her, have a child, and then that child I'll raise it as my own. Pretty much that's what he said, right? And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. So, and Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. So basically what happened is Hagar, once she had the child with Abraham, she figured out, hey, listen, I have a child with this man. I'm your maid, but you can't have children. I am better than you are, right? So at this point, the maid starts thinking that she's better than the wife, than her boss, right? That's pretty much what they're saying there. The maid felt that she was better than the boss, right? But Abram said unto Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. So Sarai started treating her Hagar really bad now. Started treating her real terrible because of the fact that Hagar had despised her. So now Abraham is saying, hey, listen, she's your maid. You do whatever that pleases you with her. And she did. She did start treating her hardly. And as a result, Hagar fled with the kid. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way of Shur, S-H-U-R, Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence camest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress, and submit thyself unto her hands. So he's saying basically go back and submit to your mistress. Go back and submit to your mistress. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord had heard thy affliction. So at this point, she didn't give birth yet. She was pregnant. So she was pregnant when she fled because Sarai knew that she was pregnant, and Sarai started treating her bad. That's when she left. So the angel of the Lord came to her and said, hey, go back to your mistress and respect your mistress, right? And your son will be taken care of. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. All right? And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. So pretty much, Ishmael is going to be a fighter, pretty much, and people are going to be against him, right? And he'll be against every man, and every man will be against him. So he'll have to be fighting his way throughout his life. Basically, that's what they're saying there. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seeth me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him that seeth me? Wherefore the well was called Belahoroi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. Between Kadesh and Bered. So there was a well, I guess. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name with Hagar, bare Ishmael. So Abram had his first child was with Hagar, and the child name was called Ishmael. And Abram was fourscore and 6 years old. fourscore and 6 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. So Abram was fourscore and 6 years old. So if we're looking at a fourscore, I think a fourscore is like 10 years, right? One score is like 10 years. So he must have been like 86 years, right? Yeah, I would think fourscore or 20 years. No, fourscore is 20, I believe. Yeah, I think fourscore is 20 years, guys. I think fourscore is 20 years, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've seen that word before. So I think fourscore is 20 years. So if he had fourscore, so you take fourscore, so 20 by 4 would give you 80 plus the 6 years. So he was 86 years old, all right, when he had Ishmael. And when Abram, and now we're in 17, right? Genesis 17. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, which is 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God, walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham. For the father of many nations have I made thee. So now Abraham, they just changed Abraham's name from Abram to Abraham, right? So he used to be called Abram, now he's called Abraham, and he's going to be the father of many nations. Okay? And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. So I guess that's where I'm sure people have heard that Abraham is the father of many nations. I guess that's where this comes from. And he said he's going to make kings, right? Shall come out of Abraham's lineage. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee, and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to be thy seed after thee. That one is a little confusing, but I guess basically what he's saying is that, listen, the covenant that we have is going to last forever. You will be like a God, right? You're not a God, but you're going to be a God unto thee. So you'll be like a God to thy seed, right? And I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. So remember, Abram left. He was in one place. He left with his brother Lot. Now he goes to Canaan. So which means that there was already people in Canaan. The tribe of Canaan was already there. But the Lord is going to give him that land where people are already living. Okay, so God is going to take all these lands from people. Okay. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised. So he's asking him to circumcise all the children under him. And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man-child in your generation. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. So everybody every man who's in Abraham's camp have to be circumcised, right? Kids were going to be circumcised at 8 years old going forward, and everybody who's there now going to be circumcised right now. Even Abraham going to have to remove his foreskin. Boy, And then he's gonna have to remove the foreskin of every other man who's there. Everybody's been circumcised going forward. From now on, everyone's circumcised. Take that foreskin off. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, right, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. So I guess that cutting off the flesh is creating that covenant between God and Abraham and his tribe and his peoples and his maids and everybody there. And God said unto Abraham, now he's no longer Abram, he's Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call